First, I never studied theater, so it happened by accident. And my first major work was a 7-hour play that was silent. And I had been invited to France to show it twice at the festival of Nancy by Jack Lang. And Jack Lang later became the Minister of Culture. And these two performances were an enormous success, which was a big surprise. And Pierre Cardin invited me to come to Paris to show it 10 times in a theater that had 2,000 seats. And we ended up playing 5.5 months every night in this very large theater to 2,000 people for a 7-hour play that was silent. And Eugene Ionesco came to see it, and he wrote a long article about the work and said, Wilson has gone further than Beckett, because Beckett never was able to stage her work in silence. It was 7 hours long. Sometime after that, I met Samuel Beckett, and he said, oh, everyone's talking about this play that you've made that's 7 hours long, and I regret that I didn't see it. So I was doing a work called A Letter for Queen Victoria next, and it was a play written with an autistic boy. It was a play of nonsense. Thoughts were put together mathematically, and it was more about compositions of words, but it made no sense. It was nonsense. And Samuel Beckett came to see it, and I knew he was in the theater. And afterwards he came backstage and said, oh, Mr. Wilson, I like your play very much, and I especially like the text. So I said, wow, Mr. Beckett, you're my favorite. And so we decided to have dinner, and we had dinner. And I told him how much I admired his work, and he said, have you ever seen it? And I said, I saw the Happy Days many times, and that how much I admired Madeleine Renaud, who did Happy Days, was the main character. And he said, yes, she's a great actress. So she's a great actress because she doesn't understand a word of what she's saying. And but she has impeccable timing. And I said, well, what other actors do you like? And he said, oh, my favorite one is Buster Keaton. And I said, that's my favorite actor too. And so we continued talking, and then we had dinner another time. And he said, I think you would be good to direct my work. Years later, I did direct the Happy Days, and Beckett had died. But I'd always thought of these few times we met, and we both like silent movie actors, and where everything was dance. If you see Charlie Chaplin, it's all dance, and has to do with timing. When I was 69, someone offered me a chance to perform Krapp's Last Tape, because it's about a man who's that age. And so I decided I would try to do it instead of, I'd seen this play done many times, and it always felt it was wrong. It was too heavy and too naturalistic and psychological, and was burdened by all of this unnecessary. And to me, it it's a play that is still very Contemporary, it's a man talking to a machine. Go on the street. What do you see? People walking with these damn cell phones or something, talking to this little computer. And yet this was written 60 years ago. And it's very much, I think about today, a man who's alone, lives with his tape recorder, and that's his companion, and he speaks with the tape recorder into the tape recorder, listens to the tape recorder. It's what we see on the street today. Well, I don't really think of myself as an actor, and I don't perform so often. It was not something I'd want to do every day. I'd rather make it, direct it, look at it, than to be in it. But having said that, by acting in my work, I have some idea of what it's like to be in it. So I can direct you and I can direct other people. But when I have to do it myself, it's something completely different. And so I learned what it's like to be inside my own work, and I think it helps me when I'm working with other people. And this play, the difficulty, well, is with any play, but I think especially with Beckett, there are two things that are important. One is, how do you play silence? And I think it's 53 minutes before I speak in the play. So how do you hold the audience attention for 53 minutes before speaking? And probably I couldn't have done it if I hadn't made a play that was 7 hours long and silent. But the other thing is not to play the title. What's very important is the humor in Beckett. And so often you see, the Krapp's last tape, this old guy, he's dying and it's sentimental, but if you look at Charlie Chaplin, he's a little tramp and he's starving and he eats his shoes, but we laugh. So it's important, I think, in Beckett that you try to find humor. So it's the silence and the humor that are the key elements, I think. The wonderful thing about theater for me is that it brings together all the arts. It's architecture, it's painting, it's dance, it's music. All of them can be found in theater. I think probably the most important element is light. And light is the element that helps us to hear, and it's the element that helps us to see better. I start with light. So the first thing I do when I go to a theater, to a rehearsal, is that I do lighting before I know anything else, because the light will create the space. And so often in theater, someone writes a play, someone directs a play, someone designs a play, and then before you open, they do the lighting. So it's like an afterthought. But here, light is the first thing that I think about. So light is like an actor. It's like an active participant. I think that theater is a forum, and is a place ideally where anyone can go. So regardless of your religion, regardless of your political ideas, of your economic, social background, you can go into a room, a space, and share something with a group of people. I think that's unique in society, and I think that theater, man will always need to have such a forum. We have, throughout history, seen people congregate and come together. I think that will be the future, that theater is something we experience live. We can watch television, we can go to a cinema, but the live experience of the exchange, I think, with people, of emotions, of ideas, are something essential and necessary. Politics will always divide man. Read the paper today. Religion will always divide man. But theater, or art, can bring people together, irregardless of our differences. And I think that that is something very essential and needed in society.